Heaven is in My Heart, Part 3, our story from Genesis to Revelation, chapter 29, The Beast and the Dragon. Then John sees another beast rising out of the sea with 10 horns, bearing 10 diadems and 7 heads, bearing blasphemous names. This beast represents the Roman Empire. The beast looks like a leopard with feet like a bear and a mouth like a lion. This image is also found in the Old Testament book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 7 verse 1 to 7. The beast gets its power from the dragon. One of the beast's heads has a mortal wound that has healed, and the whole earth follows the beast with wonder. Men worship the dragon and the beast and say, "Who is like the beast? Who can fight against it?" Revelation chapter 13 verse 4. The beast is given authority to blaspheme God and His saints for 42 months or 3.5 years, which signifies a limited time. The beast blasphemes against God, His name, His dwelling, which is the body of Christ, the church, and those in heaven, the saints and the martyrs. Also the beast is allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, which alludes to the persecution of the first century Christians before the destruction of Jerusalem. All who dwell on earth will worship the beast and the dragon, except those whose names are written in the book of life that belongs to the Lamb who was slain prior to the foundation of the world. This alludes to the fact that God, in His infinite wisdom, already knows who will remain faithful to the end. Only those who remain grounded and rooted in love, prayer, and friendship with God will be able to survive, because it will require heroic virtue to remain faithful. Only those who constantly think of God and make seeking His kingdom the first priority of their lives, no matter whether they are Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, or of any other faith, will be with God. This vision concludes with an invitation. If anyone has ears, let him hear. John exhorts his readers to go into captivity if they are taken captive, and to be slain if they are slain by the sword. It is a call for endurance and faith of the saints. Then another beast rises out of the earth, with 2 horns like a lamb, and it speaks like a dragon. This beast signifies the corrupt Jewish religious leadership, which also persecuted the early Christians. It has all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes everyone worship the first beast, whose mortal wound has healed. This beast also works great signs and even makes fire come down from heaven to earth like Elijah did. The beast performs these signs in the sight of the first beast, who was wounded by the sword and survived. The second beast is allowed to give breath to the image of the first beast, and is able to speak and even slay those who will not worship it. A parallel is seen in chapter 3 of the book of Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar made everyone worship his idol or die. The beast also causes small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be marked on their right hands or on their foreheads. This is so that no one can buy or sell without the mark of the beast or the number of his name. This is a sign of apostasy. John then says that it calls for wisdom to understand the number of the beast, for it's a human number. The number of the beast is 666. This also refers to the Roman Emperor Nero, who severely persecuted Christians. Another possible interpretation, as stated in Jeff Gavin's Bible study materials, is that it refers to Solomon, who received 666 talents of gold in a single year and was unfaithful to God, and he married several women who didn't worship the God of Israel. Then John sees on Mount Zion the Lamb and the one 144,000 who had the name of the Lamb and his Father on their foreheads. He hears a voice from heaven like the sound of thunder and many waters, which is like the sound of harps. They are singing a new song. This is the liturgical song that no one except the 144,000 redeemed from earth could learn, because they were chaste and followed the Lamb wherever he went, and were redeemed from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb. No lie was found in their mouths, and they were spotless. Today we are being deluded by society to lie and manipulate to gain power, wealth, and control. But the only ones who will be in heaven are the ones in whom no lie was found. These are the spotless ones who place their complete trust in God and not in man. John sees three angels. The first angel he sees is flying in mid-heaven, proclaiming the eternal word to all the world, every nation and tribe. This angel, in a loud voice, says, "Fear God and give him glory, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made the heaven and the earth." The second angel says, "Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She made all the nations drink the wine of her impure passion." Revelation chapter 14. Babylon represents the powers that were opposed to the true worship of God, which would be the Roman Empire in the first century. The third angel warns that if anyone receives the mark of the beast on his forehead or hand, he will also drink the wine of God's wrath and be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of God's angels and the Lamb. Their torment will be forever and ever, and they will have no rest day and night, and those who worship the beast and receive its image and mark of its name. The saints are called to endurance, those who keep God's commandments and are faithful to Jesus. John hears a voice from heaven say, "They are blessed who die in the Lord. They rested from their labors, and their righteous deeds follow them." This is the second of 7 Beatitudes in Revelation. Then John sees a white cloud, and on it is seated the Son of Man with a sickle in his hand and a golden crown on his head. Another angel calls out to him and says, "The hour is ripe. The hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is ripe." Revelation chapter 14, verse 15. So the Son of Man, sitting on the clouds, swings the sickle on the earth, and the earth is reaped. Wheat represents the holy souls who will be taken up to heaven at the second coming of Christ on the day of judgment. Another angel comes out of the temple in heaven, and he too has a sharp sickle. Then another angel comes out from the altar with power over fire, and asks the angel with the sharp sickle to gather the clusters of grapes, which are the fallen souls. So the angel swings the sickle and gathers the vintage that was crushed in the winepress of God's wrath. Grapes and weed represent the fallen souls who will be sent to hell to be tormented forever. The winepress was trodden outside the city. This could mean the unbelieving nations would destroy the Jews who never accepted the Messiah, which would be the fulfillment of the destruction of Jerusalem by Roman armies in AD 70, when the Christians escaped due to the foresight and leadership of the Bishop of Jerusalem. Again, this is not to be mistaken as anti-Semitic. This is recorded by the Jewish historian Josephus Flavius and other early church fathers. You can go to this website www.freeteristarchive.com, study archive, pellaflight.html. For the latter times, This could signify worldwide judgment of those who knowingly reject Jesus as the Messiah. This excludes those who, through no fault of their own or under their circumstance of birth and other factors, never come to a true knowledge of Jesus. This vision also has a parallel in the Gospel of Matthew. Let them grow together until harvest. Then at harvest time I will say to the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles for burning, but gather the wheat into my barn. Matthew chapter 13, verse 30. His winnowing fan is in his hand. He will clear his threshing floor and gather his wheat into his barn, but the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. Matthew chapter 3, verse 12.